You spent a bunch of time in Japan with rings. What was the difference between what was going on in American MMA and Japanese MMA at the time, Randy?
Well, there's a very close parallel between pro wrestling and MMA in the Japanese market. You had guys like Inoki, who came from that pro wrestling background, the Shuto guys. They were developing and they were using a ring instead of a cage. Back then, like pancrase, you could do rope escapes. You could punch and kick. Sometimes it was open hand. Shuto, a lot of the rules were open palm strikes instead of closed fist. On the ground, when you were standing, you could use your closed fists and punch and kick. Just different rules of engagement and a kind of a different form of the same sport. But it was a little more akin to pro wrestling. They liked, the costumes. They liked. Right. They would put on some works. They would do.
Was it more of a work shoot, Randy? Was it part work, part shoot, or was it all?
There were some works. I saw some fights that I would swear were works. Now, obviously, that wasn't common knowledge, but again, I think that was a little more acceptable in the Japanese market. Yeah. That was not going to fly in the U.S. market.
Hell no. Yeah.
If they smelled the work or they thought guys weren't fighting as hard as they should be fighting, they would say, "Oh, this is a work. It's not a real fight," and they would get disgusted. They were irritated with that whole thing. So there was definitely a difference between the Japanese market and what was going on there and what was going on in the U.S.
Hey, this is Kurt Angle, and welcome to the Kurt Angle Show. On today's show, I promise you won't be bored because we have an MMA and wrestling legend, and his name is Randy Couture. But first, let me introduce to you my co-host, Conrad Thompson. How you doing today, Conrad?
Man, I'm excited. Here we are in the presence of MMA royalty, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Randy Couture. I can't believe this is real. Thank you for the time today, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Randy, how you doing, man? Everything okay?
Doing great. Everything's good. Busy as heck. Feels like the floodgates in February.
What are you doing now, Randy?
I'm doing some commentating for the Professional Fighters League. That's what I'm doing right now here in South Florida. We have the last of our semifinal fights for our postseason matches tonight in the light heavyweight division and the featherweight division. And then we have our championship fight coming up October 27th, again here in South Florida. So excited. This is our third season with the PFL, Professional Fighters League. They took MMA and they put it into a true sports format with a regular season, a postseason, and a championship every year.
So that's awesome.
Really been fun to be involved.
Very innovative, man. That's great. Is it all down in Florida?
We did all of our regular season fights up at Oceans Resort and Casino in Atlantic City. Okay. This season, all the postseason playoff fights have been down here at the Hollywood Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, and our championship will be down here in Florida as well.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're doing well and that you're part of that. That's awesome.